Colin Firth, born September 10, 1960, in Greyshot, Hampshire, England, is one of the most talented and respected actors in British cinema. With his elegant appearance, warm voice, and profound acting ability, he has conquered global audiences through classic roles such as Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice, 1995, or King George VI in The King's Speech, 2010. But behind the halo of fame and prestigious awards, Colin Firth's life is not without deep sadness, heartaches that he rarely shows to the public. The greatest sadness in Colin Firth's life, if he had to choose one, would probably be the breakdown of his marriage of more than 2 decades with Livia Giugioli, the woman he once considered his confidant and a solid support in life. Married in 1997 and divorced in 2019, their relationship was once a symbol of stability in the turbulent entertainment world. However, Livia's affair with journalist Marco Brancaccia in 2015 to 2016, although only a short period during their separation, left an irreparable rift in Colin's heart. He shared in a rare interview after the divorce that losing a family was the most painful thing I have ever experienced. The sadness came not only from the betrayal, but also from the feeling of helplessness when he could not preserve the home he had spent his life building. In addition, Colin Firth's sadness was also associated with other personal losses that he rarely spoke about. Growing up in a middle-class family with teachers, he witnessed the financial difficulties and social pressures his family faced when he was a child. It is rumored that he lost a loved one, possibly a childhood friend or a family member, in his early years, an event that had a profound impact on his quiet and introspective personality. But more than anything, Colin Firth's greatest sadness seems to have been the realization that, no matter how successful he was in his career, he could not protect those he loved from the pain of life. It was a quiet sadness, lingering over the years, hidden behind the gentle smile he often gave his audience. Colin Firth's career has been a long and emotional journey, where great success and bitter failure intertwine like scenes in a tragic film. Starting out with small roles on British stage and television in the 1980s, Colin Firth was not a celebrity from the start. He made his breakthrough in Another Country, 1984, but it was more than a decade later, with his role as Mr. Darcy in the BBC's 1995 television adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, that he truly became a household name. The iconic scene of Darcy emerging from the pool in his wet shirt became a symbol of romance and elegance for audiences around the world. Colin Firth's biggest career success came in 2010, when he won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his portrayal of King George VI in The King's Speech. The film was not only a personal triumph, but also a testament to his acting talent, as he perfectly portrayed a king struggling with a stutter and the pressures of the throne. He also received an Oscar nomination for his role in A Single Man, 2009, an emotional film about a gay man's grief after the death of his lover. These roles affirmed Colin Firth's position as an actor capable of conveying the most complex emotions, from aristocratic arrogance to silent pain. However, his career has not always been a bed of roses. Colin Firth's biggest failure can be said to be in the early 2000s, when he was labeled a one-dimensional actor with light romantic roles like in Bridget Jones's Diary, 2001. Although the film was a commercial success, many critics said that he lacked a breakthrough, causing him to fall into a crisis of artistic identity. "I wondered if I really deserved this profession," he once shared in an interview. To escape the shadow of Mr. Darcy, he had to work harder, taking on more challenging roles, even accepting failure in some projects such as Gambit, 2012, a comedy that was heavily criticized and failed to reach the expected revenue. Colin Firth's tears did not only fall in sad scenes. He once burst into tears in the recording studio while preparing for the role of King George VI, when faced with the pressure of recreating a complex historical figure. "I cried because I was afraid I couldn't do it," he said, "but I cried more when I realized I had surpassed myself." Another time, at the premiere of A Single Man, he couldn't hold back tears when the audience stood up and applauded, as if to affirm that his efforts had not been Colin Firth, does not just act to make a living, but also to affirm his value as a true artist. One of the greatest achievements he has always aimed for is to become an actor who can inspire, not only through his roles, but also through the way he lives and dedicates himself. He once said in an Oscar acceptance speech, "I want my work to be meaningful, not just to me, but to the people who watch it." To achieve this, he has challenged himself with diverse roles, from a grieving father in When Did You Last See Your Father? 2007, to a humorous spy in Kingsman, The Secret Service, 2014. In addition, Colin Firth also aspires to use his fame to contribute to society. He is an active activist in human rights and environmental issues, working with Oxfam and Survival International to protect the rights of indigenous tribes. This is not measured in awards, but in the small changes he has made, such as when he successfully campaigned for the British government to review its policy towards Congolese refugees in 2010. "I don't want to be just a face on the screen," he says. "I want to leave something behind." Another goal Colin Firth has always strived for is to maintain integrity in an industry that is often tempting. He has turned down many commercial roles that are purely for the money, instead choosing projects that have artistic depth, even if they are not financially successful. This has not been easy, especially when he has faced pressure from producers and fierce competition from a younger generation of actors. But every time he steps on stage to accept an award or stands in front of the camera, he tells himself that his greatest achievement is the respect that his colleagues and audiences have shown him after more than 4 decades of dedication. Colin Firth married Livia Giugioli, an Italian film producer, in 1997 after meeting on the set of Nostromo, 1996. Their love story began like a fairy tale. A suave British actor and a passionate Italian producer, together they raised a family with 2 sons, Luca and Matteo. Their marriage lasted 22 years, a rare period in the world of Hollywood where relationships often fall apart quickly. Colin once described Livia as the smartest and strongest woman I have ever met, and they were often seen together at events with beaming smiles. However, Colin Firth's marriage was not without its sorrows. Livia's affair with Marco Brancaccia in 2015 to 2016, despite occurring during a period of separation, broke the trust between the two. Colin later forgave Livia, and they tried to reconcile, but the wound never really healed. In 2019, they officially divorced, ending a long chapter in his life. "We tried our best," he said in a brief statement, "but sometimes love isn't enough to hold things together." His greatest sorrow in marriage was not just the betrayal, but the feeling of losing an irreplaceable part of his life, a family he once believed would be forever. Before Livia, Colin had also been in a relationship with actress Meg Tilly in the 1980s, with whom he had a son, Will. While the relationship didn't last, it left him with a gentle sadness that he wasn't able to be with Will as much as he would have liked in his early years. Colin Firth's love and marriage is a story of beautiful moments mixed with deep cuts, where he learned that happiness is sometimes only temporary. Colin Firth is the father of 3 children. Will Firth, born 1990, from his relationship with Meg Tilly, and Luca Firth, born 2001, and Matteo Firth, born 2003, from his marriage to Livia Giugioli. For him, his children are not only a joy, but also the greatest motivation in life. Will, his eldest son, grew up in Canada with his mother and pursued an acting career, inheriting his father's talent. Although he did not live near Will in the early years, Colin always tried to maintain a close relationship with him, often flying across the Atlantic to see him when his schedule allowed. Luca and Matteo, the two sons he had with Livia, were the center of his family life throughout their marriage. Colin has said that he would rather spend time at home with his children than attend Hollywood parties. "They are the ones who remind me that I am more than just an actor," he said. "They are the reason I want to be a better person." However, after the divorce, sharing custody of Livia brought him a lot of sadness, as he could not be with Luca and Matteo as often as before. Colin's relationship with his children was not always perfect. He admitted that his busy career caused him to miss many important milestones in their lives, from school performances to birthdays. "I always feel guilty," he said in an interview, "but I hope they understand that everything I do is for them." Colin Firth's children are his greatest pride, but also a source of deep regret as he realizes that time will never come back to make up for it. Livia Giugioli, Colin Firth's ex-wife, who has not spoken out much since their divorce, shared some of her thoughts on the pain he went through in a rare interview with an Italian magazine. "Colin was a more sensitive man than anyone I have ever met," she said. "He carried sadness inside him that he never expressed, especially when our family fell apart. I know he cried a lot because he felt he could not keep things the same." Livia understood that Colin's greatest sadness was not only the breakdown of their